Hello there again, friends. Today is 1/14/2022, and this is Odin Project Day 39. Um, so we're in problem-solving section of Foundations today. It's not a big section. There is a couple meaty articles to read that I won't go over just for the sake of time, but this is not something to skip. Take your time and read through this whole thing, including all the articles, very, very extensively because um, problem solving, as you'll learn as you're reading these articles in the text, is that it's probably one of the most important things to learning how to code outside of, you could be really terrible with syntax and you could Google just about any syntactical error known to man in any programming language. But the driving home point today is that if you don't understand how to solve a problem, if you don't know how to write pseudocode, if you don't know how to, basically break down a problem into smaller sections and do that, methodically, basically on paper in pseudocode, you won't get very far, and you'll get stuck really early, and you'll get yourself in a knot, and you'll go round and around and around and around, and you'll never solve anything, and you'll give up. That's the the 2 minute Reader's Digest of this whole thing. But I actually printed off a section of this if you want to as well. That's up to you. But I highlighted understanding the problem, plan, pseudocode, divide and conquer, and right down to here, and then I printed that off and put it on my wall. It's really good stuff. Ironically, or not ironically maybe, but problem solving is something we already went through and talked about quite a few videos ago when I came across that one curated YouTube video that came to my feed. We talked about the 4 dev troubleshooting steps, which one was understand the problem, write it out, which is honestly is very similar to this. 2 is break it down into chunks. 3, work each chunk, and 4, execute the code and debug. Essentially, that's in lesser words. It's the same thing as this, but this is important. Take your time with it and go through it. I know I've already said that, but and then write your pseudocode out either on a whiteboard or on paper. And then you don't necessarily have to start with, it talks about it in the text, but you don't necessarily have to start with your first line. It may be, but a lot of times they encourage you to start when you're starting to write your code from your pseudocode, you want to start with the easiest one, the one that you feel like you could accomplish the easiest without it relying on anything else to be computed before it. So this one's simple. This one probably is the first one you'd want to do. It's an input, but you may come across your pseudocode where your third one's the input or the easiest one to solve. And basically, there's no exercise today, but we are going to go over solving Fizzbuzz. To demonstrate this workflow in action, let's solve a common programming exercise called Fizzbuzz. And basically, they talk about what Fizzbuzz is. I won't go into all the text. You guys can read it, and I encourage you to do the exercise. The code is, there's the pseudocode to it, and it talks about how to break that down. It's really important to understand it. So I'm not glossing over it for the sake of not understanding it. It's just that I've already done it, and I don't want to make this video super long, and I do want to get to the editor. But basically, we're going to go over this in the editor together, the already finished product. But this basically breaks down the problem-solving process line by line, pseudocode, and then putting it in your skeletal HTML file. Running one section, and then basically printing it out to log, seeing what it says, and moving on. And it steps you through that entire process from start to finish. And it's important. It's definitely important. So I highly encourage you to do that on your own. And you can comment if you have any problems with it or what you think of it. It's a great way to look at problem solving. It's a really fresh look. So this is basically the end result that's supposed to log out, that prints to log when counts a log when you're done. So without further ado, we're just going to run through the exercise real quick. Again, you don't have to do the exercise. I just want to let you know I did it because I wanted to get the practice, not only writing the code, but understanding what each section did. Because a lot of times I will just read it and then think about it, internalize it, understand what the syntax is doing, understand the algorithm behind it, and then move on. But this one, since there wasn't any exercises, I went ahead and ran through that one. Because you see the assignments here is just to read, watch this video, which is really good, by the way, and then read this article. And they're not super long reads, so today actually went through pretty quick. And there's additional resources, and there's a knowledge check at the end. So it's not super big, but so the essence of the Fizzbuzz program is, I think it was like a kids program. Basically, what we're doing here. So we got our script, our HTML skeletal here. We have we're declaring answer here with let. So we have let answer equal parseInt, which that's going to take in the parameter and the method of prompt, and that's going to prompt the user, and please enter the number you like Fizzbuzz. Please enter the number you like to Fizzbuzz up to, space, end parens, so there's a space in there, and then it's opportunity for the user to input a number. Now this isn't verbose because it will error, I think, if they put a, I didn't try this, but I think it will error if they put something other than a number in there. But this is just an exercise getting you used to pseudocode and working through an exercise line by line. And again, this is the finished product, so I'm not going to go through the pseudo process with you because it would make this video really long, and that's not the point of it. But I do encourage you to go through it on your own. This is just to show you kind of the end product, and we'll go through the lines here so we understand the syntax of it. So it's going to prompt, and then they put the number in there, and then parseInt is basically a function that's going to transfer the number into a number. Actually, I didn't look that up, parseInt, because I didn't Google that. So see, number. So actually, it might work. Maybe at the end, if there's extra time, I'll try to put something other than a number in there, and see if what this parseInt is capable of doing. Or maybe we'll Google it. But anyway, we'll see if I remember at the end. So that number prompt's going to be entered into answer, and then we come down here and there's a for loop, and we're going to start iteration. So we're going to create a variable called I, and we're going to make it equal to 1. And what we're doing here, this is the exercise of printing out 1 and iterating and recursively printing out every number that up to the number that they entered into the prompt. So what this is going to do then is it's going to there's your challenge or your condition. I is equal to or less than answer, and then we're going to increment I by 1. That's, if you remember, that's what the plus is. So in this instance, it means 1 is equal to or less than answer, which say they put in 20. So that's going to iterate to 2, and we're going to go down into the first if. And then it'll say if I, and you remember percent is the, I can't remember the exact actual name of it, but that's the remainder. So basically you're saying if I remainder 3 equals 0, meaning it's divisible into I and equals 0 evenly, and it divides through 5 evenly, it will spit out Fizzbuzz, because Fizz is 3, Buzz is 5, and then Fizzbuzz together is 3 and 5. So you see the 2 ands here. So it combines the 2 expressions. I put a couple extra parentheses in here that weren't in the text or in the solution because I just wanted to test it to see if it works. It makes more sense to me. I just by habit I like to put my arguments and my conditions inside of parentheses. You don't have to. The solution doesn't have it in there and it works just fine. But and then it console logs Fizzbuzz as I just mentioned. And then if that is not true, if this is and statement's not true, it will go down else if I I'm just gonna say remainder. Remainder 3 is divisible by itself, so you get 0. Then console log fizz, and then same thing for 5 by so basically it's evaluating them by themselves. Would be fizz and buzz, and then if none of these are true, it will console log and print I to the console, and it's just gonna keep iterating over that until this for loop is complete, which means when I is equal to the answer. So when I iterates to say 20, say they entered 20 as the answer value, 20 is met, it'll stop iterating after 20. So it'll get down here and it'll go up and it'll fail because 21 will be greater than 20 and it'll stop. It'll cut, and then this will stop the script and stop the script from running because there's nothing else to run. So based on this right here, if you run it, just like in the text, you end up getting this. So if I refresh it, it prompts you, please enter the number you'd like to Fizzbuzz up to. So we're going to put 20 because that's what it says in the example in the end. Again, I'm skipping a lot of stuff. I'm skipping the the process of writing the pseudocode out line by line and logging it because I don't want to make this video super long, and I encourage you to go ahead and do that. But this is the end product. So you have 1. It prints 1 because it went through all those iterations, or it went through all these conditions and nothing was true, so it printed out. 2 is the same way. 3 is fizz because when it got to this if statement here, 3 is divisible by itself evenly to get 0. So it cancels out fizz for the log, and then after it does that, it exits the actually it continues on, excuse me, because there's no return or break, and then of course these are not true, and then it continues on, and then you have 4, and then 5 is buzz, which means that one resolved here. So 5 remainder into 5 is equal to 0, and so it's going to cancel out buzz and then continue on. And remember, it's going to keep continuing until our for statement is basically, in this instance, our for statement condition is true, or false, I mean, basically when I becomes greater than the answer. So it's going to go up to 20 in this example. So same thing, going to keep going here, and then you get to a Fizzbuzz on 15. So that means that this right here, this if was true. So 15 is divisible by 3 or remaindered by 3 to equal 0, even amount of times, and it's the same thing for 5, 5, 10, 15, 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. You get the point. That remainder is even with no additional fractional numbers after. So that's why you got Fizzbuzz. And then 16, 17, 18 was fizz, 19 is printed out, and then 20 was buzz. So that's it. So yeah, I got a couple seconds here. Let's see what parseInt is here. Since we have a moment here. Let's just see. parseInt function converts its first argument to a string, parses that string, then returns an integer or not a number. Okay. So yeah, so parses that string and returns an integer. So let's see if this works real quick. I don't want to make this too long, but let's see what happens if I F5 to refresh, run it. What happens if I put write out 20? is gonna do it. If I can type. No. So parseInt parses a string argument and returns an integer of the base of mathematical operations. Oh, okay. All right, so it's gonna parse out. Let's see if we got an example in here. Oh, it's gotta have a, yeah. It's only gonna parse. It's not gonna convert. It's not gonna make it a number. It's not the number function like we're used to seeing. Oh, so it's literally just gonna pull. So if I had like, so I was looking at it wrong. So um, if this is like, 2110 or something weird like that. Someone put something weird in there. See, it's gonna pull out the 20 and leave the 10 like it wasn't in there. That's if somebody put something weird in there like that into the input. Okay, so it's just gonna parse out that integer. It's not converting. It's just pulling it out. So yeah, learn something new, and sometimes you learn it live as well. So that's that. So that's all we have for this section. Like I said earlier, that actually wasn't a exercise, but I wanted to go through that with you guys, um, just to make a good video out of it instead of just saying, "Hey, read all this and move on." So, our next lesson, I am 73% complete, and we're getting close to tic-tac-toe, I think. Or rock, paper, scissors, excuse me. Got one more gonna go over errors, and then we're gonna hit a project. So this ought to be interesting. So anyway, that's it for today. Please like, share, and subscribe for more content. And thank you for coming along the journey with me today. I hope you learned something, had a little bit of fun along the way. And please comment below how you're doing and what you thought of this exercise and this module of learning how to problem solve and break things down into smaller, manageable chunks. And until next time, see ya.